It'll be like aliens crashing.
The story. There were
No,
9.
you only get to do one time. Now it's Skyler's turn.
What?
You're messing up the rotation.
Alright, story. There were 9 black kids on a train with white people. They got in a fight. The white people were thrown off the train. They ran to the cops, and the station master had the train stopped at Paint Rock, Alabama. The posse caught the kids. The posse caught the whatever something. Caught the kids and took them to jail.
That's a train.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Reason. There were 2 white girls, Ruby Bates and Victoria Price. The crowd said they were doing stuff and didn't want to get in trouble. They accused the black kids of rape. They had a trial to determine what would happen. And that's Ruby Bates and Victoria Price.
The kids accused were Owen Montgomery, he's 17 years old. Clarence Norris, he's 19 years old. Haywood Patterson, he's 18 years old. Ozzie Powell, he's 16 years old. Willie Robertson, he's 16 years old. Charlie Weems, he's 16 years old. Eugene Williams is 13 years old. Andy Williams is 19 years old. And Roy Wright is 12 years old.
I feel like Eugene gets old.
No.
What?
Williams and Norris trials. The trial was held by all white people. That's what it's held.
Yeah.
Alright, the trial was held by all white people. Norris and Weems went first. Weems said he didn't take part in the fight. Patterson had the pistol and didn't see the girls till his train got stopped at Paint Rock. Norris denied participating in the fight and being in the same car as the rest of them. He said he saw the other kids raping the girls from sitting on top of another car. They were both charged guilty.
This one is Norris, and this one is
Limbs.
yeah. The Patterson trial. Price said that Patterson was the one that raped her and shot one of the white guys. Roy Wright testified that Patterson had nothing to do with the white girls, and he was on top of the boxcar with Norris, who had a knife. Andy Wright, Eugene Williams, and Ozzie Powell all said that they didn't see any woman on the train. And Owen Montgomery said that he sat alone on the train, but the jury convicted Patterson and sentenced him to death by electrocution.
Aww. Tyra, he raped a girl.
Powell, Robertson, Williams, Montgomery, and Andy Wright trials.
It's not true.
Price accused Williams of holding a knife to her throat and accused everyone else of having a knife. She said that another kid held a knife to a white kid during the rapes. The judge said that any defendant who was involved was guilty.
Roy Wright trial. The prosecutor said Wright was too young for the death penalty. Wright's trial was declared as a mistrial. He was a young.
Okay, 8 out of the 9 were sentenced to death by electrocution, and the judge set the executions for July 10th, 1931. And that's Judge Hawkins, who was the first judge.
Chandler wanted new trials for the kids. He hired an investigator and found out that Bates and Price were prostitutes in Tennessee. Knowing that information, they said the girls probably lied during the trial. The execution at least got called off to a later date. The judge denied Chandler's request for another retrial. The Alabama Supreme Court decided only 7 should get charged for the death sentence. Eugene Williams and Roy Wright didn't get sentenced to death.
Hey, Jack.
So no one raped anyone they paid.
Justin Anderson went to court and said that the boys' trial wasn't fair. On October 10th, 1932, the trial went to the United States Supreme Court. The court said that the Scottsboro defendants were innocent, but they did get their 4th and 15th Amendments violated, and sent it back to the Judge Hawkins for a retrial.
Okay, the defense wanted the case moved to Birmingham, Alabama, but it got transferred to a rural community of Decatur, Alabama. Decatur was near homes of alleged victims, and it was in Ku Klux Klan territory. The case got assigned to Judge Horton and tried in Morgan County. 2 years passed and there was nothing. There was another trial, which Roy attended, who wore regular clothes while all the other boys were in prison clothes because they were in jail. They finally put a black man in the jury instead of having all whites for a trial.
Owitz proved that the man that claimed seeing the boys all in the same cart later admitted that the boys were scattered throughout the front cars. The guy said that he saw the fight was a quarter of a mile from the track and couldn't see that far. The guy that said he saw the girls jump off the train got proved wrong that, and he also claimed that they were wearing coveralls. But they really weren't. They were wearing women's clothes.
We do that?
Grace later came to court and said that she was never raped, and the only reason that she said that it was because Price told her they might get in trouble and go to jail for crossing the state line with strange men. The jury still found the defendant, Haywood Patterson, guilty and was sentenced to death by electrocution chair. The judge decided that there would be a retrial because the rest of the defendants couldn't get a fair trial anyways. So he postponed the rest of the trials even though it would cost him his.
Judge Horton got replaced with Judge Callahan, who was racist and told the jury that no white woman would do Callahan, who was racist and told the jury that no white woman would willingly do anything with a black man. The judge banned photographers and typewriters. He also removed protection from the defense. They once again decided on a death sentence for Patterson.
Norris was also sentenced to death in court. The case went back to the Supreme Court for the second time. This time blacks were excluded from the jury. On April 1st, 1935, the U.S. Supreme Court sent the case back to Alabama for retrials. They changed their mind and said that they can't exclude someone from the jury because of their race.
At the retrials, they had one black person with the jury. Creed Conyer? Creed Conyer, sure. They couldn't decide again, so they set another retrial for January 20, 1936.
That was final decision. By January 23rd, Patterson was convicted of rape but didn't get a life sentence. He got 75 years in prison. He escaped in 1948 and wrote and published The Scottsboro Boy in 1950. Afterwards, he was caught by the FBA. The governor refused to extradite him. He was arrested for stabbing a guy in a fight later on, and then he was convicted of manslaughter and died in prison of cancer in 1952.
FBA.
Is that what I put?
You
No,
said
you put
that.
FBI, but you said FBI.
Oh,
Yeah, Kansas, you dropped
Only July 15th, 1937, Norris was convicted of rap.
okay, this was last night.
Of rape and sexual assault and was sentenced to death. Later, Governor Graves charged his death sentence to life in prison. He escaped in 1946, went into hiding, got married, and had 2 children. He was found in Brooklyn in 1976. They decided to pardon Norris. They wrote and published a autobiography in 1979 called The Last of the Scottsboro Boys. Norris died on January 23rd, 1989.
July 24th, 1937, Andrew White was convicted of rape and was sentenced to 99 years in prison. He was paroled, but ended up going back into prison after violating it. He got released in 1950. He was paroled in New York State. On July 24th, 1937, Charlie Weems was convicted of rape and was sentenced to 105 years in prison. He was paroled in 1943 after being in some of the worst prisons in America for 12 years.
Ozzie Powell was sent to Kilby Prison, the same as Wright and Norris. While going to Birmingham Prison, 2 officers threatened the men. Powell hit one of the officers with a knife, and Wright and Norris pulled him away. The officer shot Powell in the face, and he suffered permanent brain damage. He was sent back to court for that. He pled guilty and got 20 years. The state dropped the rape charges. Ozzie was released from prison in 1946. On July 24th, 1937, Alabama dropped all charges against Willie Robertson, Olin Montgomery, Eugene Williams, and Murray after spending 6 years in prison. That's Powell, and then those pictures go in order with those names.
Roy Wright joined the U.S. Army. He married and joined the Merchant Marine. Yeah. When Wright came back from sea in 1959,